I realized that I was already in the... It didn't happen then, but I realized, oh, there are no thoughts, there is no time, nothing has any weight. It's like a dream. It was, fantastic, and I just realized that, and I didn't know when it began, so to speak. And I thought maybe if I can explore this with you, it will get to talking about non-duality, as we all love, helping this, and also maybe strengthen this. Whatever made this happen, I would like it to be more of that. And so it was very close also, that's one reason I wanted to come up today, because you were talking about there is only seeing. There was no eye seeing, and there was no world that was being seen. And there was nobody either that was, oh, what is going on? I tried to understand it. But I was really, it was a fantastic, it felt, that's where I want to be. And also, it's good once in a while to get some affirmations that the spiritual path is, something good is coming. So if you were at the dark side, the last time I was sitting here. If you were at the dark side, the last time I was sitting here, maybe now we can try to explore the light side. Because it seemed like I had a premonition or a temporary taste of what you're speaking about.
So what do you feel right now? Like, it doesn't just have to be emotions, just you can just list off the sensations.
There is some, I don't want to call it anxiety because there's nothing negative about it, but there is some excitement, let's call it.
Yeah.
My body is,
Yeah.
I can feel my heart, and there's a little bit of that. And there is my mind is, you can start to spin.
Yeah.
And there is one part that says, you're not coming here to try to get anything, because that's not what you should do. And the other thing is I'm not. I am not, because it is like, the other part says that. So there are two sides of this.
Okay, so now go down to your feet.
Okay.
Put the attention down your feet. Kneecaps. Groin. Tummy. Solar plexus. Heart. Shoulders. Arms. Throat. Behind the eyes. And top of head. That world you just explored doesn't have an inside or outside, and the one that was exploring it isn't the experiencer, it is an experience. And that experience of you that felt like it was putting its attention and moving its attention is something that comes and goes and doesn't actually have free will or choice, but it seems as if it does. It comes with the feeling of free will and choice, that you can move your attention. But that's not who you truly are. There is something much bigger experiencing. And that experiencer is found in everything, not just that limited movement of awareness. That's personal awareness, which is a functioning. We get stuck there, and the awareness gets stuck in our mind and in our thoughts, and we feel like we're this person that's behind the eyes choosing, and we can move our attention and we can choose to do things, but actually there's something that knows that's much bigger. That is appearing in a small space. That is appearing in a huge space. That is a small, tiny part of experiencing. Experiencing is endless. And when I said put your attention in that area of the body, there is actually no inside or outside world. Those senses are infinite. Our mind puts them into place in relationship with things and makes them feel limited, but they are not limited. So do it again. Put your attention into your toes, into your soles of your feet, your shins, kneecaps, your legs, top of the legs, groin, tummy, solar plexus, heart, shoulders, arms, throat, behind the eyes, top of head. You are a limited space experiencing itself. Limited space. You are the limitless space that's experiencing itself. You are not that limitation that feels like it's moving attention. That's a functioning. That is not you. That is the lie. That you have free will, you have choice, and that this is your life and that I'm speaking to you. But that is known in affinity, in something that cannot even be described. When the thoughts drop away, there is simply this, which is endless presence, that belongs to no one and is. It's known without any effort. This is known, and it doesn't belong to you. The you appears in that knowing, and the knowing isn't separate from the experience, the things. It is all things, and it is not a thing. It's not limited, it's not located, it is everywhere. The sensing and the sensed are one and the same thing. It's a functioning that comes up that says, I am sensing. And I can move my attention. That is not who you are. You are that presence which knows that. Instantaneously, only ever instantly. This knowing is here, is now, is this. We live here in the head because we believe that that small awareness is us. And that it's our job to find love, pleasure, and avoid pain and not being loved and fear. You are this. This, right here. That always is. No matter where you go to, even though the scenery changes, the forms change, it's always this, never not this. And even though I speak to that separate person and say, move your attention, there is no free will in it. Our conversation is like the wind blowing the tree. Nobody does it. The tree doesn't move because the wind blows. It's one energy happening. Lisa speaks and then there is a response, but it's nobody's response. You are that presence, that knowing, which the thoughts and ideas and feelings arise in. You are this. The mind keeps coming up trying to claim its identity again because that's what it's used to. But that's not you, not you. You are this, right here. The mind always wants to avoid the feelings in the belly because they've become unbalanced because you've been living a lie. Your feelings begin to have a lot of anxiety, worry, hate. Because you've believed you were a separate entity, there is permanent. So the feelings are sometimes uncomfortable. So the thinking tries to avoid that, but you have to, well, you feel separate and you have choice, go into that feeling because the freedom is there, not in you imagining getting enlightened, not in you imagining that you don't want something from me. It's here, right here, not in anything the thoughts say. They want to go there, they want to go here. I want this, I don't want this, I like this. All the time trying to avoid what the body feels. All the time looking for home, and home is in this, is in the experience. It's not really your doing, but it might seem like it's your doing, that you go in. But that one that goes in isn't a separate entity. Just like the tree blowing from the wind doesn't move separately. Nothing moves independently. This is one energy dancing. Don't run away into thoughts. You just take the attention down into the body. You don't need to be anything. You won't get love for being anything. That's fake love. Your love is you. You don't need to be that. There's nothing you need to be. What do you feel?
A bit too much to many things. And there's one recurring thing when I get this kind of freer consciousness is it feels that I don't exactly know where my mouth is to talk with. And so, while you were talking, so many things to the extent that I did have thoughts and reflections, it was in so many directions. And so I could start anywhere. For instance, one thing is the thing I experienced yesterday was, I take it as a sign that this very good sign, and enjoyable at the same time.
Shall I let you into a secret?
Do I have
Nothing.
the courage? Okay, that's good.
It's not about sex this time. That nothing has ever gone wrong. You never went wrong. You never took one step out of line. Everything, the whole thing has played out perfectly. You see, the lie is that it's good and bad, and that there's different possibilities. That's the lie of the self, the separate self that doesn't like destruction. Destruction is part of this. I remember when I was, could you just pass these back, please? Thanks. I remember when I was with Roger, when I was living with Roger, the he used to always amaze me how he could find positive in things. So, like it always was, and it wasn't that he's a positive thinking. Like he could be really direct with me and harsh, but it was always amaze me how it's not like he was into positivity, but he just saw everything in flow. And so it would be like the most random thing. Oh yeah, well, I'll tell you one story, which I'm sure he really is not ecstatic about me talking about him, but 8 o'clock at night, that night, so I stayed at home, and a big cat or something, this is in Australia, ran out in front of his car, and the car flipped, and the passenger side was destroyed. So if I'd gone, obviously I couldn't have gone because it could only be one way. It was absolutely destroyed, and the roof was flattened, but he was okay. So there was a massive storm that night, and it took ages to get hold of me, but eventually I got a neighbour's car and I drove to pick him up, and he's just sat on the side of the road, and he was like, well, that was a fantastic experience. And then I was like, should I take you home then? He's like, no, we'll go to the party. So I had to driving all the way to the party. And then me and my other friend were like, you sure? You know, and he's like, no, it's... And he went on in the car to say what the experience was and what had happened when the car flipped, and like he'd written off his Jeep that was maybe, I don't know how much money. But he then ended up getting more insurance for it anyway, so got a much better car. He'd overinsured it or something. And over it all the time, and at first I used to think it was fake, but then after living with someone so intensely for 3 years, he just always saw it in flow, the ups and the downs. And there were so many funny experiences we had, like another time. We lived in the forest, and before it got really hot, you had to burn off all the leaves. And so we used to rake them all up and then set them on fire. So this was before it got too hot. But one time, Roger decided just to set the forest on fire, like just because he thought it wouldn't spread and he could control it, you know, like so we didn't have to rake it all up. So he just set it on fire, and I was standing there cooking, and I looked out and I was like, woo! And the whole forest was like, pfft. You see Roger running around like, and I kind of didn't even realize, you know, I'm not Australian. I was just like. So I just carried on cooking his dinner, and he came in for his dinner eventually, and he was like, wow, that was amazing. Like sweat, covered black from all the... And then it wasn't until like weeks later that I'd found out that it was out of control and that he nearly lost control of it, and it spread the whole property. It was he always, and it wasn't like he was overly positive, like, you know, when you hear people being fake, it just wasn't out of line. He just didn't, and it was such an amazing thing to watch from the other side, of seeing that it wasn't out of line. And this mentality has to shift, that anything can be outside of God's hands. So I found this really beautiful quote. Let's see if I can remember it. No.
I know a Ramana quote like that, you know,
Yeah.
silence.
It was about God's will and God's hands, but...
Is it will everything in God's hand, and eventually you will see God's hand in everything?
Yeah.
I'm trying now to ungraspingly savor this moment, because it's...
But the thing is all you ever need to do is be honest to what you are. So if there's grasping, allow the grasping, because that's where God is. If there's not grasping, never try to be something you're not. You just have to try to be what you are. And in a way, you can't even try to be that. And if that is a seeker, that's a seeker. And then the next moment you move out of seeking, that's who you are. The reason that the lie started and grew was because you kept denying. You kept trying to be something better than what you were. There's nothing better than what you are. The divinity is in it, not out of it.
You know this talking about that the whole world is helping you to awaken.
Sorry?
The whole world is helping you to awaken.
Yeah.
You know, some people speak
Yeah.
like that, and right now it's just throwing things at me constantly. I was into the Ramana bookstore today, and then an Indian guy asked me about if I wanted to recommend some books, and he asked the right person about that, and we ended up having a chai together, and he talked about another book by Anthony de Mello, and now I'm going to brag a little to show that my maturity, that I told him that yes, I know about Anthony de Mello and I have great respect for him from what people say, but I have already contact with so many good authors, so maybe I don't need another one. But he said, yeah, but this is a short book, and it's about trying to make yourself better. The problem for the seeker of trying to, and it's only 2 pages, so he sent me a PDF file.
There's only 2 pages.
Yeah, this part.
All right.
Yeah. And I only talked with him, for a few minutes, and he said, "I'm going." So now I have this in my mailbox, 2 pages about which seems what you've been talking about now, and I cannot pinpoint how he,
Yeah, but you're still trying, and that's okay, I'm just pointing out, but your mind is still trying to find that you're on the right path in that energy. You are. It's okay, but just recognize the seeking that comes up. You want the sign that you're doing it right. You are. You can't get it wrong. But you have to just be honest with the seeking energy that comes. When there's not the honesty, then you carry on seeking on the surface in the fake world that you imagine. So that energy comes up of insecurity, that you're in the wrong way, and then you try to tell yourself you're in the right way, and that gives you a buzz, so you get addicted to it. But then you live more and more in that buzz world. It's not real. You're okay.
It's so obvious when you get a taste of the real thing.
Yeah.
That it's completely different from the other.
Yeah.
But when you're in the other, it's...
Yeah. Pleasure. Feed me.
It's not so easy to, to see that. And also if you do see it, or kind of have a faint memory that there was something else, it's so difficult to use that insight. But I think that was perhaps why I wanted to come up, that by this contact we had now, the good part is strengthened. So I don't need to understand anything really. But as you usually speak about, it's an energetical thing, and I think I trust that more now. So my mind maybe will get more and more vacations.
Yeah.
Because I have experienced so many times now that these good things, these absolutely good things, so to speak, they can never be, they just come, they can never be.
And what do you do that's physical?
If you mean when I'm here, I do a little Surya Namaskar in the morning, and I've done a few Girvadams, and also not now in this satsang season, as I call it, but before that, I was here a few weeks before that. I go often to the Virupaksha cave. Sitting there is not that physical, but going up and down, is
yeah. But if you see anything that's anything to do with doing something with the body, so like breathing in the body or anything like that, I recommend that for your body type.
You're not the first. So the universe is telling me that too, because I was at another satsang a day and asked her if she had a practice to recommend, and she said, yeah, just feel your body and feel your breath. And I was into, this, who am I?
Yeah.
But I could see very clearly then that who am I, which is very good practice, and I will continue that also, but it is dangerously close to thinking, to formulate, you know. So feeling the body and feeling the breath is, I felt that, this,
Yeah.
and now I do that, and then I can see my immense addiction to thinking.
Yeah.
That when I go down there, I feel, well, now I am.
But it's so obvious that would happen to you because you've got a great mind. So therefore, as a kid, the mind got praised, and so that's where you got your pleasure from. Just like if I give Khaleesi every time she sits,
That's a good.
give her chicken to every time she sits, she's like, as soon as I get food, she's like, I'm sitting. So just do something more physical, because you can see the energy goes whoop, whoop. And
A lot now also.
not so much.
Not so much.
Other times been more.
I think so. Yeah.
Nice.